displaying the glory of God's creation by exploring America one park at a time. Welcome to Parking Full Time with Big Dave, the park's professor. First hole. The par and distance are at the top of the screen. This hole is wedged into a narrow strip of land, with the park entrance road off to the right and the park boundary off to the left. There are no obstacles directly between the tee and the basket on this hole, other than a few overhanging limbs. Because of this hole's position, this hole has kind of a filler or forced feel, although I have definitely played more fillery holes than this one. There's the first basket, and there's the view back to the tee from behind the basket. The second hole plays moderately downhill through this dense grove of trees, but now this course's real warts start to show. You can see that this hole plays directly over this sequence of picnic tables, and I would not want to throw on this hole if there were people sitting at those picnic tables. Also, a lot of these trees have some really low limbs, and that makes for a really low ceiling on a pretty long hole. And those two themes are two themes that we're going to see recur as we walk about this course. I do want to welcome you back to Parking Full Time. I am Big Dave, the park's professor. We are at Van Buren State Park. We are in Northwest Ohio, a few miles north of Findlay, Ohio, and also just a few miles off of Interstate 75. There's the second basket, and there's the view back to the tee. The third hole is another hole with a fairly low ceiling for a fairly long par 3. This hole plays moderately uphill, and the park's main lake does sit off to the right. Most holes on this course have two tees, and those are the two distances I'm giving you at the top of the screen. All of these video clips start at the long tee, and we just walk past the short tee for this particular hole. Once you get past that cluster of trees, then this hole really opens up, but it would take a real low and long throw to get past that cluster of trees. Those low ceilings definitely provide a challenge on this course, although maybe it's not a real fun type of challenge. There's the third basket, and there's the view back to the tee from behind the basket. The fourth hole is a sweeping dogleg right with dense woods on the inside of the dogleg, so you really don't want to miss right or get a bad ricochet to the right on this hole. There is once again the low ceiling created by the overhanging limbs, and that is going to be a recurring theme and a recurring challenge on this course. This course was redesigned a few years ago, and overall it was a good redesign. It took this course from one that, to be honest with you, wasn't really worth playing, to one that probably is, but nevertheless there are still a few issues that persist after the redesign. There's the fourth basket, and there's the view back to the tee from behind the basket. The fifth hole is another hole with an obvious safety hazard. It plays right across the corner of this parking lot, and there was a car parked here as you can see, and because of that car, I did not feel comfortable throwing on this hole. I was afraid I would hit and damage the car. This hole is a very straight and very flat hole. There is dense woods off to the right and dense woods just beyond the basket, so you don't want to miss right or miss long on this hole. There's the basket and the view back to the tee. The fairway on hole number 6 basically coincides with this power line corridor. There is a park road off to the left, but it's not as in play as on some other holes. What definitely is in play is the dense woods that leads down to the lake off to the right. Overall, this is actually one of my favorite holes on the front 9. I captured this video on Friday, October the 11th, and it was a warm, sunny, and beautiful day with temperatures in the upper 60s when I came here. This basket is perched very close to the woods, so if you miss long or right, you're going to have a hard time finding your disc, much less recovering your score. The fairway on the 7th hole basically coincides with this park road, and while this road is not heavily used, that's still an obvious suboptimal situation. From the back tee, you'll want to start your disc towards the left side of the road and use a slight left to right disc flight in order to get on line with the basket. Overall, this is a very flat and fairly open but also pretty uninspiring hole. I do want to thank you for watching. Parking full time would not be anything without the people who watch. I realize that every day, and I heartily thank you every day. Also, as a reminder, I do not make any monetary compensation for anything that I do for this project. I took a vow to do that many years ago, and I have held to that vow. And so all I get from making these videos and reviewing these courses are your likes, your subscribes, your views, and your comments, and I do appreciate all of those things. The 8th hole is similar to the first hole in the sense that it is wedged into a narrow strip of land, with a row of trees off to the left and a park road off to the right. This hole does play over a pair of picnic tables, and I would not want to play this hole if there were people sitting at those picnic tables. Safety hazards are one of the main problems on this course. We get up to the basket. You see the basket is sitting underneath this tree with more low-hanging limbs, and so you really would prefer to come in from the right to get to this basket. There's the basket. And there's the view back to the tee from behind the basket. The 9th hole is, of course, the last hole on the front 9. It's another hole that plays across the main park road, and there is a decent bit of traffic on this particular park road. Safety issues are a real problem on this course. The hole plays slightly downhill, and the basket is up here in this little cluster of trees. And so you want to try to get it as close to the basket as you can off the tee to give yourself a reasonable chance at birdie. This course feels very wedged into this plot of land. There are a lot of safety hazards, and it's also some of the same low ceiling challenges over and over again. It's probably not going to be one of your favorite courses, but it is worth playing if you're in the area. That is the end of the front 9. I will see you on the back 9. Until then, have a great afternoon, take care, and Lord bless.